What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, CEO, MTS Nutrition. These questions I'm getting from the Tiger Fitness group on Facebook. If you want to be a part of it, it's a great community. I'm going to link it down below. You know, sometimes I like to open it up because I want to know what you guys want to know. And generally, if someone asks a question, it means a lot of people have questions. So the question that came from a dude named Brady is, my genetic potential is ruining my motivation as a natural. Completely understand that, dude. It happens. But the problem is your genetic potential is always moving. Your genetic potential is never on a static. It's never on just staying the same on a single plane. Your genetic potential moves. It adjusts based on stressors, based on circumstances. There are some things that will be a definite. One is that, you know what? Your muscle gain will slow over time. In the first year, maybe 2 years of training as a natural. What's going to happen is you're going to gain lean mass. You're going to gain it at a pretty good rate. You might gain 5 to 10 pounds of muscle in that first year. As you get past that beginner phase, the intermediate phase of lifting, you gain less lean mass. As you get into the advanced stage, you're lucky to gain 0.5 to maybe 1 pound a year of lean mass. But the thing is, it's all about grinding. For example, my brother just turned 44 years old. In fact, turns 44 today, October 24th. Man, he is still making gains at 44 years old. Sure, they're very slowed compared to when he was in his 30s, but they're still gains. So your genetic potential is based on where you're at. Now remember, there's an age decline no matter what you do, unless of course you're Dexter Jackson, who just looks phenomenal all the time. He's 47 years old. As you age, basically you go in, so you have that wonderful time of your teenage years, you got your 20s, you got your 30s, then mid-30s, it starts to kind of do this. And that's just a natural way of life. That's just what happens. That's called age-related decline in performance. It just happens. But the thing is, your genetic potential is your genetic potential at that given moment. So your genetic potential at 25 is going to be different than your genetic potential at 38 or 42 or 55 because it's where you're at in life. What I always tell people is don't worry about your genetic potential, worrying about maximizing you as a person. For example, some people have huge genetic ceilings. Doug Miller, Marshall Johnson, who still gets on stage in the 150-pound range, but he's in his 50s. So he's maximized his genetic potential for the age of 50 plus. Then you got guys who hit their peak early. Some guys like Jay Cutler and Branch Warren, I'm not saying they were natural, but let's just bear with me here. At 19, 20 years old, they looked amazing on stage at the teen nationals. So your genetic potential is your genetic potential. And that's why I always get to people and say, stop comparing yourself to others. Like if I compared myself every day to Mike O'Hearn or Phil Heath, I'd hate myself and I'd probably end up trying to take my life because those guys are two amazing people who have maximized their genetics. Mike O'Hearn has much better genetics than me. But Mike O'Hearn also, and I tell this story all the time, when I was 15 years old, I was training at Gold's Venice. And I believe O'Hearn's I think he's 6 or 7 years older than me. I remember seeing Mike at Gold's Venice. This is before we even knew who each other were. He was already in the movies and stuff, right? Mr. Universe, whatever. I was a 15-year-old kid. I remember seeing him train hard every single day. I'd see him in the morning doing cardio on the bike overlooking the gym. I'd see him at night sometimes come in and train because I'd go a couple times sometimes. At the end of the day, he maximized Mike O'Hearn's genetic potential. At his given age, right now, he's the best Mike O'Hearn he could be at in his 40s. Back then, he was the best Mike O'Hearn he could be in his 20s. Dexter Jackson right now, he didn't look as good as he looked when he won Mr. Olympia in 08, but Dexter Jackson is maximized, even though it's not natural, his physique and at 47, his genetic potential. At 30 years old, Dexter Jackson was the best 30-year-old Dexter Jackson he can be. Myself, I maximized my potential at 28. My brother, he was the best 38-year-old he could be when he won his natural bodybuilding pro card. At 44 years old, based on the fact that he is a senior executive for a large company, based on the fact he travels a lot, he has 2 kids, he has a very demanding, stressful lifestyle, my brother is maximizing his genetic potential based on his position in life and his goals and what he wants to do with himself. And the time he's willing to invest in training. My brother works downtown in the city. It's an hour commute. He has to take the car to the train station, train to the city, then he has to get to his office. Hour and a half, right? My brother trains at night in his house. All he has is a power rack and dumbbells. For my brother's given situation in life, he is maximizing his genetic potential. All the bodybuilders out there who do it full time, you will never be at their level. That's their job. So I'm guessing, Brady, you do more than just bodybuilding. I'm guessing this is a hobby. So the goal is not to be the best bodybuilder you can be. The goal is to be the best Brady that you can be at that given moment in time. Certain times, for example, my wife and I were working on our marriage. You know what? My diet and my training were the best they could be, given that I had businesses to run and that I had a marriage. You know, when my kids have soccer season, sometimes I only train 4 days a week. That's the best I could do for my genetic potential at that given time. Stop comparing yourself to others, because that's where I know this is. I know you probably have a gym bro or a gym ho who's just making all kinds of gains. And maybe he has better genetics than you. Maybe he has a better lifestyle choice than you. Maybe he's less stressed than you. Maybe God just liked him better and gave him better insertions. If I had $1 for every time I felt sorry for myself about how I look compared to others, I'd be broke because I don't give a fuck. I am the best Marc Lobliner that I can be, and that's one thing I've always kept in perspective. I've never compared myself to others. When competing, I knew what I was, I knew my weaknesses, and I went in. But I didn't get on stage against gifted people and expect to beat them in their gifted areas. I beat them in areas I was good at. And I knew I could out-condition people, and that's how I won shows. That's how I earned my pro card, is I out-condition people. So my opinion, Brady, find what you're fucking good at and excel at it. But in all areas of life that you do, aim to be your best that you can be in that given time in your life. Brady, I hope this helps you. My name is Marc Lobliner. That's not a game. Be sure to like this video and, of course, subscribe to this channel and click on that bell so you know when I'm uploading more epic stuff just like this.